Think about the turnaround for a lot of these teams. The Bengals were just rejuvenated by a bunch of rookies coming in and showing out, who didn't know anything but winning from their college days.
Don't get me started on the Bengals right now.
This team, I know they hurt me too, but this Broncos team, the guys around the locker room and in the building, they know losing, and you have to change that culture.
Yeah.
You could even say Russ has one, but it's been a while. It's been 8 years. It's been 8 years. It's 8 time.
Long years.
Russ might have lost that winning feeling, The Broncos need to lose that
winning feeling.
It's gone.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
That's what it feels like watching the Broncos offense.
I don't know. This team can surprise you, and I think I'm just trying to play optimistic because you've been Debbie Downer for 2024 anyway. So
Debbie Downer.
Oh, they just gotta lose them all and get the number one pick. And I mean,
would you be more excited if the Broncos lost all of these games and they were able to get Caleb Williams next year, or more excited to have Russell Wilson back after 8 and 9 season?
See, it's hard for me because I have a little financial thing in there.
Yeah, what does your future look like? What's a better future for you? Having Russell Wilson after an 8 and 9 season in your financial investment, or a guy like Caleb Williams for the next 10 years?
I just want wins. I want to have fun. That's all I care about. If it comes down to an 8 and 9 season and they just missed the playoffs, but damn, they look pretty damn good, I'm okay with that.
But it's going to be 8 and 9, not looking very good, Nick.
It's not going to be. No, it's not. It's going to turn around. It's okay. There's a little bit of growing pains.
And Nick will answer that question, how he feels now, after this intro.
Welcome to the Undrafted Uncensored cast of Pod.
That was way too long.
Hosted by Nick Archuleta. Mosted by Colin Zanker. And last but certainly is least, Joseph Goodwin.
Welcome in, everybody, to an emergency Undrafted Uncensored edition. As we're going to play it.
Because Colin's going to keep playing it again.
Cast of Pod.
I'm excited to play it twice that I had to ask Nick. I was at work today, and I left work not feeling so good. I had to know something was going on, but that was one of the clips I was listening to earlier. And Nick, how do you feel after a mediocre season where the offense sucked and having a draft pick in the middle rounds, and now you don't even have a
It's not in the middle.
It's close enough to the middle.
It's not the middle.
It's not a premium pick.
None of these quarterbacks really turn out to be premium either. Nobody knows who they want at number one anymore. The Bears don't know the Bears don't even know if they want to keep Justin Fields. So that screws everything up already because nobody trusts Caleb Williams. I told you this before. Nobody can really trust any of these quarterbacks. They look good, yeah, on paper, fantastic. But guess what? The game's not played on paper. I'm content with a quarterback that can lead you to maybe a 9 and 8 season next year, but we have an asshole for a coach that has zero personality. I mean, Vic Fangio had more personality than freaking Sean Payton right now. And I've had one of those days, so I'm a little fired up.
You wanted all those meatballs in the pasta.
Now the Broncos have a mediocre draft pick after getting rid of their mediocre quarterback.
To pick a mediocre quarterback. Again, nobody has faith in any of these quarterbacks right now. How many times has the number one quarterback changed in even the last 2 weeks, since even before the combine?
Well, I was thinking you were talking about the number one pick, Nick. I was like, well, that's more of a Justin Fields issue than it is the top quarterback.
No, nobody has faith in any of these quarterbacks. I understand they don't want to show their hand, but at the same time, none of these draft guys, any of these experts, And I'm not an expert. I will 100% raise my hand and say I am not a draft expert. But none of these experts are even on the same page.
Nick, do you remember the Peyton Manning Ryan Leaf draft? This same thing happened, Nick. So don't act like this is brand new. We all know it's going to be.
It's not brand new. It's just, but
yes,
it's different when it's different when it's your team. Then when it's the San Diego Padres and the Indianapolis Colts picking quarterbacks, I don't give two shits.
It's not our team because the Broncos won too many games with a mediocre quarterback that now they're paying $80 million to.
Because they had to. Because this has been, see, the problem is this has been screwed up since they went and made the trade. And we can all, at some point, we all thought maybe Russ was going to help something. And I know you're going to go on that little tangent. No, I was saying from the beginning, Russ is going to suck. He's on the downslide. But that was also when we got Nathaniel Hackett. And he had to have Sky Daddy there to help him out before he got shipped off. He's not even succeeding in Queens right now. Well, New Jersey, but they're still technically a team in Queens.
All right, I will really introduce us. I'm Colin Zanker. That's Nick Archuleta. I let him breathe for a moment. Joe Goodwin down there just enjoying the show. As the news came out today, Russell Wilson will be released officially by the Denver Broncos. A thank you letter to the Broncos from Russell Wilson has been sent out, or X'd or whatever. He got X'd. Who cares? But yes, after all the arguments and the questions of will Russ stay, will Russ go, I think for me, Nick, I'll let you take the wheel after this, but for me, the writing was on the wall, just like what happened in Las Vegas last year with Stidham. Funny thing, Stidham on both sides.
He's got a voodoo doll.
Guys takes over for the bench starting quarterback, and the incumbent quarterback is shipped out of town. 2 years straight that's happened with Stidham as a backup.
He's got a voodoo doll.
Him the angel of death, but I really don't think it's that much death because Russ is still getting $40 million. So
yeah, and Derek Carr's still a competent starting quarterback in the NFL. We can't really say that about Russ.
It's true.
Until he takes the Pittsburgh Steelers to 11-8 next year to the playoffs.
Is that going to be him or Mike Tomlin? Because as I'm going through our pick'ems in these games from the past year and listening to them, we chose Mike Tomlin more so than saying we choose the Steelers to win.
Yep.
When we chose the Steelers to win,
we definitely did.
So let's not make any, I guess not brush over that fact. Like it's more Mike Tomlin in that running game, getting them there.
It's just one of those things that you're going to have to remember when those Steelers start winning with Russ back there. What are Denver fans going to do?
All right, the 8-minute mark. It'll be a lot shorter cut because I can find it on for the next cut once the season starts.
I'm just saying, we know how Denver fans react when things like that happen. Look what happened with Arenado until the Cardinals couldn't figure out how to build a winning bullpen or starting rotation, actually, when you bring Adam Wainwright in from, 49. Anyway, I digress. I'm sorry. This is not baseball. This is football.
I mean, that just proves the Rockies' point, though. It's just impossible to build a roster around a guy when you're paying him so much money, right?
Yeah, ask Chris Bryant.
Doesn't matter how good he is.
Oh, wait. Sorry. Again, not a baseball segment.
Bryant the same kind of money, aren't they?
Russ made about 100, or not 100. That's 60 million more than Chris. Or
that was all from the Seahawks.
His contract was, yeah.
Yeah, that was
no. I'm saying Russ's contract with the Broncos was about 60 million more than Chris Bryant's with the Rockies.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. He's a quarterback, but
he's a quarterback, and he was coming to an organization that had brand new owners that don't know how to do football business yet.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, again, I've been harping on this. That's been part of the issue too. And again, as much as I can't stand Sean Payton, George Payton was here for that. And he should have been the one to step in and say, whoa, wait a minute. Before we extend this guy, he's got some miles. I mean, we've all been to that used car lot before where we kick the tires and the muffler falls off. Let's kick the tires and make sure the muffler's not going to fall off before we give this guy any more money. And they wanted a quick fix, and there's not always a quick fix in the NFL. I mean, the Broncos got lucky with Peyton Manning, but even then, and I don't mean to knock Peyton Manning, he wasn't Peyton Manning when he was in Denver. He just had a good surrounding cast that was able to carry him and a defense that could just eliminate everybody.
I mean, I would say a lot more. That was the end.
I mean,
like he was better his first few years. His passes still weren't as crisp as they were in Indy. I will say that. Like he had lost something on his throws. But
he still had the best offense ever with the Broncos in 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but again, I don't mean to take away from it, but you could definitely tell the difference between Denver Bronco Manning and Indianapolis Colt Manning too.
You mean a smart quarterback and a quarterback who doesn't know how to not take a sack?
Yeah, I was going to say intelligence. That was always his greatest asset. I was actually telling my roommate that like 20 minutes ago because he was talking about, I guess his wife was cheating on him or something. It's like, why would you do that? And I'm like, well, he's not that good looking. He kind of does wear a lot of khakis, but
we're not talking about the same sack when we talk about football sacks and a wife cheating on a man. That's a different sack.
Different kind of sack.
Yeah.
And
different kind of balls,
different
kind of
sack.
I should not be so bad. Anyway.
Yeah, I just I don't feel great about the Broncos draft position. I mean, it's definitely better than what it's been before. It's obviously still not quite top 10, but it's kind of close. The problem is you have to get to 3. Getting to 3 is going to require a lot of draft capital or a lot of good players in addition to draft capital. So that means bye-bye Patrick Surtain.
Why don't we just trade first-round draft picks?
Yeah, because we've already gone. Like, you just got to give up multiple years in the future, like fucking the movie Draft Day, and nobody wants to do that.
You don't need draft picks. What do you need those for? I mean, hell, we traded them for a quarterback and a coach.
No, we don't need those draft picks.
Yeah.
So I would like but the problem is now the guy that I like the most is now getting talked up more. So I don't think you can move it to 3 and get Jaden Daniels. So I don't know if it's actually worth doing. So at that point, you're already kind of fucked. So you might as well either just scout the fuck out of maybe Drake May if he falls, or, Penix, Nix, I guess McCarthy, but I hate that in the first round. I'd rather try to take him in the second. But scout those guys, see if you think you found a diamond in the rough, because you might as well check, because if you didn't check and one of those guys ends up being good and you could have taken him, it's the same cycle. But
I hear Josh Allen's name again.
Exactly. So you just take a good player of some sort, I guess, maybe. I doubt Brock Bowers falls that far, because even though there's quarterbacks, and then you're just going to end up probably being bad, and you have to try to get a quarterback next year somehow, because you kind of fucked yourself on money. You go for one of those veteran fun guys like we've been talking about, like we've been saying, like that's what they're looking at. It's that, or use too many assets and trade up and potentially still only end up with Drake May, who might fall anyway.
2 questions. Who was compared to Josh Allen?
No, I was making a smart ass remark because.
Oh, okay. I thought
that was, people kept passing up Josh Allen.
Yeah,
and it's
okay.
It was just a smart ass remark.
I thought there was someone that I thought I missed someone being compared to Josh Allen in this draft, and I was like, when did that happen? Like, I watched the hardest throwers and all that stuff they did in the comment. I'm like, I didn't hear any of this. I was afraid I was missing something.
No, Joe got the joke.
Yeah, I thought you were literally saying someone was being compared to Josh Allen in this show.
No.
That's why I was confused. Because I hadn't heard that. So
he's about to start going off on Bo Nix.
Right?
He's not at all Josh Allen. What the fuck is your problem, Nick?
Yeah, that probably
obsessed
would
with Bo
have.
Nix. God damn it!
That probably would have happened if you had said, "Oh, Bo Nix is like Josh Allen."
Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys, I would have just put you on mute. You could have walked away and then listened to the replay.
Such a
Well, this is college show now. Peace out, bitches.
deuces. Welcome back to the Colin Ranting My Quarterback Show.
So, to follow up, I mean, I would love to get Brock Bowers if he would fall there. One thing I heard also that we talked about last year at about this time that I know I had mentioned and we kind of laughed at, but with this, you mentioned the top 3 probably being gone. It's going to be very difficult to move up. And that's to say that even if you could move up to 3, is that the guy that the Broncos want at 3? Because, I mean, who knows? With Nick's theory that, nobody knows, everyone's the number 1 quarterback, maybe it's Caleb Williams at 3, and maybe that's not the guy Sean Payton wants. Just to go with what you're saying, Nick. But we mentioned this and we talked about it last year, the possibility of the Broncos just building up their offensive line in this draft. And that would mean, get your offensive line set this year, bring in a quarterback. Kind of like what that started with that clip, the Bengals, and building through their draft.
You just beat me to it. I was going to say the same thing. If Sean Payton, the clock's on him right now. The clock is on Sean Payton at this point. This is going to be your squad. Mm-hmm. So from this point on, you have to make all the right decisions, push all the right buttons. And if you don't have a quarterback, obviously this Broncos team is not going to win more than 5 games. I mean, 6 at the max, and that's if they get stupid lucky.
They got stupid lucky last year.
No, they played like a team.
3 turnovers a game. Yeah,
they beat Kansas City twice.
No, once.
I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, they beat Kansas City once. Shut up.
Are you sure?
I'm trying to figure my brain out here. Okay,
Are you sure that's water in your can, Nick?
It's been a long day. Okay,
me too. All of us.
I've had some anger issues already today.
Let it out.
Just let it out, man.
Not football related. Anyway, if he doesn't have his quarterback, he better be damn sure he's trying to do something that looks like a plan, because if you can get the Broncos to obviously fall, as much as it pains me to say, then you need to make sure that you have a quarterback next year. And if you bring in, Baker Mayfield's not going to. You can't afford anybody, so you're gonna be looking at the bottom of the barrel. You're looking for anybody at this point that will take $100 to play quarterback.
Yep,
because that's really all you can afford.
You can afford a little bit more because of the salary cap increase, though.
I'm sorry, 150.
But there's nobody available. You're not going to pay it for Kirk Cousins.
Well,
you're not going to pay.
Gardner Minshew is probably your best quarterback right now.
So, you're going for Minshew, Brissett, Jameis
Winston,
whoever your favorite of those backup tier.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Winston, because
I was just
in Nolans and Peyton. Peyton, for whatever reason, is trying to make this New Orleans North. We're above sea level.
How's that W taste?
Yeah.
Tastes good.
Yeah. Hey, is there a bounty factory here in Denver, by the way? No, there's no bounty factory, so I don't know what they're going to do.
I mean, the walls I don't think they do much in the indoor, but those walls are kind of padded. They look very padded.
Oh, man.
But yeah, you nailed it, Joe. Jameis Winston, I think, is the name that's out there, the Broncos country.
No, Nick said that.
We can. No, you said it in your list of. You said it in your list of quarterbacks.
Oh, it was one of them. Yeah, I'm gonna keep pointing in the wrong direction towards my door because it's funny.
But that's the guy that I agree. I think that's the guy that we bring in, because what did we see last year? Adam Troutman, Will Lutz.
Yeah, and
didn't look very good, but that's what we saw. Sorry,
and I don't like that. Like, since we're doing a kind of a quarterback deep dive, let's fucking kind of get into this a little bit. Who do you really like out of those guys? Not necessarily who we expect, because Jameis Winston would be the most likely, just because Sean Payton does seem to like his guys. But I feel like out of all those guys that I would want to try to have, if we're actually trying to do something and win, which I don't think is the way they're going to go. But I kind of like Jacoby Brissett. I feel like he would be able to come in and just be a professional, do a good job, and not suck. And then I just love the idea of Gardner Minshew because that's hilarious and fun, and he's a fun player. That's a guy you could bring in and then conceivably just purposely not give him the tools, and you could still kind of suck but have fun and like maybe almost get the best of both worlds. And then I'd probably put Jameis Winston third because throwing balls far is fun. Catching touchdowns. If we keep around Cortland Sutton, he'll catch jump balls from Jameis Winston. That sounds fun. Jerry Jeudy can just run super tight routes and drop the ball, and it'll be, it'll be tons of fun. It'll be great. Yeah. And then either we'll be developing a quarterback for next year or just – and then I'll be hoping we suck. So in that vein, since if I'm hoping that we suck, bring back Joe Flacco.
No. You might as well bring Mark Sanchez back at that point.
Yeah. Do you think he'll come out of retirement? That broadcast. Have you seen his hair on that broadcasting gig? He looks terrible, and it's not because of health reasons. It's all his fault. The slicked back, just that's rough. But
well, I mean, every first season of every TV show, there's always that. Oh man, you can really tell this is the first season. Maybe that's his first season hair, and this year he's going to have somebody that's going to help him groom it.
I hope so. I really do.
The list of quarterbacks that you gave. If you're looking at a guy, this dog is going to eat something. If you are looking at that list or who could be free agents, the possibility if they're trying to win now under that scenario that you gave to win this year,
because I think they're going to at least put that front up that they're going to try. Is
Kirk Cousins if they could get him, which I don't think so. That's the guy that I would. If you're trying to win now, that's who you want.
Yeah.
Who's going to be available. The other options are possibly going to be a Daniel Jones. We'll see what happens there. I think they're still going to ride with him, but there is a possibility that after last year they don't go with him and they try and rebuild also. That looked really bad in New York. So we still have some time to see if there are other quarterbacks that are free.
But maybe leaving New York too would be better because it's there's always that New York effect on people too, where you're playing in the brightest lights in the biggest city in front of the angriest crowds.
Yeah. And Joe, you sent it out earlier and I had seen it. Obviously the Zach Wilson rumors are put away for now. It's funny how that got put out before the Broncos released Russell Wilson today, and that statement got out. Pretty good timing. I know there was something swirling over the last few days, but I never took any of the Zach Wilson stuff seriously.
No.
But for me, I just want to go back and say, what was winning these games last year do? It just delays the inevitable for one more season being middle of the road. Because for me, I just roll in with Stidham. The guy you got, unless you can get up in the draft and get a quarterback, but you roll with Stidham. And you know what? Broncos country should realize that if they're doing that and they get, I don't think Baker's coming here, and I wouldn't want Baker, I should say too, because I think if Baker comes here, you have a possibility of being okay, but not a Super Bowl contender. And I think this team needs more than Baker at quarterback in order to become really good. So
I don't even if they win after Baker, I don't see them signing Baker for very long either.
That's the next thing. Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing with Baker. So I say, as sitting from the outside, let this be your tank year. I don't think they're going to. Obviously, I think you're right. Like I said, it is going to be Winston that comes in here. I think that's Sean Payton's fit. But I say just as a Broncos fan, if you see them stick with Stidham, stick with Stids, and then you go into the season, you realize what this next season is about. It's not about winning. It's about getting guys who will, stay through and play through this tough time and getting a good draft pick. Because the Jerry Jones glory hole is not this season. All right. It is not this upcoming year. There is going to be no glory unless I mean, it would have to be the weirdest of weird signings of $100 a game for a guy for multiple guys to come in and rescue where this team is.
Yeah, I'm not looking for the team to be rescued. I'm just looking for something to feel like it's coming together, I think, is really what I'm at, because
like 7 or 8 wins.
No, not even 7 or 8 wins. It's right now it's like the goo that you used to get in those little like eggs at the quarter machines, where you have all that goo and you like stretched out, but it just like gets everywhere, and at some point it's all over your pants, and then your mom's yelling at you because it's in the carpet. Sorry, Mom. There's no structure right now. If there was a structure, I think, and I think that's part of my problem, is there's no structure.
Yeah.
You got Sean Payton trying to do his thing. George Payton's still trying to feel like he's fucking relevant. An ownership that's still trying to learn football, and a bunch of players that don't know who to follow because they want to win, but they know they need a quarterback. But, they also have to think about themselves and their future and their financial endeavors. And there's no structure. If there was something there that looked like some kind of skeleton of what they have planned, I think I would be okay with all this.
Do you think that this is Sean Payton starting to put together that structure, though? I kind of feel.
I want to see the draft first before I make that decision.
Okay,
yeah, we'll have to see free agency
because
and the draft first.
Yeah, because right now you still have George over there, and again, we don't know who. We can assume who's running the team, but we don't know yet. And until I can see whose fingerprints are really going to be all over this, because I still don't even know if Sean Payton really wanted this gig to begin with. I think he took it because it was $18 million per year, and it was a coaching job again, and he can get out of the booth or out of the TV studio because he didn't enjoy that.
He looked uncomfortable.
Because he doesn't like talking.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to break it to you.
Football.
TV is going to require you to have a conversation with people about football.
Football?
He just wants to coach football. That's all he wants to do.
I'm cool with that.
And I think he kind of knew last year. We had talked about Sean Payton putting his stamp on this team, and I think he kind of knew last year, especially the way things started, especially when Russ was starting to have it to put the wristband on and everything like that, that the writing was on the wall for Sean Payton at that moment in time. So I feel like he knew going into this that he couldn't say it out loud, but the big changes were coming this offseason.
Yeah, and thank you everybody that's tuned in right now. I know it's an emergency kind of broadcast that we have going on right now. We got a little too excited, and I mean, hopefully you're there for the beginning where I was yelling randomly because it's just been one of those days, and sometimes you just have to yell at Colin.
Just because I was right.
I love doing
right.
It. It's one of my favorite things.
We don't know if you're right yet. We still have at least 2 more seasons with Sean Payton.
I mean, I was pretty damn close to being right about them not winning, and if they won, it wasn't going to look good.
Does close win your parlays?
And I would, sitting here right now, tell me that you wouldn't have rather had Caleb Williams to draft at this moment in time, right here.
I don't know. I see.
No,
we've all
your choice of quarterback.
I'm a Bo Nix guy.
We know.
So if you had your choice,
if Bo Nix was available, I'd be all about that.
If you had the number 1 or top 3 pick, you guarantee you could get that.
I would, yeah. I would be fine with that.
So you're happy with all those wins last year, huh?
Yes, because I gotta have some fun at a game still.
Again,
I'm financially invested in this too. So there's 2 sides of this that I have to agree to. Number 1 is I love this team and I'm going to support them no matter what. Number 2 is I want to get my money's worth.
Yeah, but you also just said that you want the team to have structure, and losing on purpose to get a draft pick is a strategy and a structure. So you can have fun in a loss knowing that it's the plan, that you trust the process.
But I don't know who's leading the process. Is my problem.
This is what they're doing. These quarterbacks look good. We're going to figure out which one we like the most, but we want to have the pick. So we're going to take it. So that is the plan. So it's one of those where like those really bad like Division 3 4 college like basketball teams that just lose on purpose because it's funny. You get some shit like that for 1 year, and then all of a sudden you actually have a good team, and you got drunk and fun and bet on the other team to score points and had a good time.
Get everybody on the Broncos that you don't want suspended for betting on the other team inside of the team whatever training center
facility.
And then you get them all suspended so you can get rid of them. And Sean Payton's plan, his structure is there. He gets to build it all.
And like
all of the players from Iowa, for whatever reason, it was the Iowa guys. Get everyone from Iowa suspended. There's a precedent for it.
And like I said, I think that's just, I want to know who's the main chef in the kitchen. That's all I want. If I know it's Sean Payton and he wants to tank, but he has a vision, just give me something to hold on to and to chew on a little bit.
Okay, so if Sean Payton goes into this year and it's Jared Stidham, does that give you a clear enough idea of his vision?
Yes.
Okay, if he goes out and gets, man, I'm trying to think of who would be. I'm trying to think if he goes out and gets Baker Mayfield. Do you have a clear idea on his vision?
No, because Baker's gonna get you wins.
If it's Jameis Winston,
still no, because I think he's gonna coach Jameis to win, and the way they get along together. If you're trying to win, then cool, find a way to do that. If you go into the draft and you somehow someone get Marvin Harrison Jr. and then you bring in Jameis Winston, I see you want to win, and I can get behind that. But if you're going to tell me that, well, we're going to evaluate everything, and then you're still going to go and try and pick out star studs, but you're going to like half-ass your draft picks, I don't know what you want to do. Just give me a little bit of a clue of what you're doing, and I can get behind you.
That's fair. I guess I should say maybe if it's those guys, if you're bringing in one of those guys, what if you're only signing Winston to a 1-year deal?
I can see where it's going. I mean, it's clear that you just need somebody there to, you need that
that's a show pony.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm taking the over on interceptions in every game.
Yes.
I'm drinking. Yes. I'm finishing my beer every time he throws one.
I mean, L'Jarius Sneed just signed his franchise tag in KC, or was franchise tagged. I don't know if he signed it yet because he doesn't have to. But
speaking of KC, sorry to get off topic. Speaking of KC, thank God Mike Evans is staying in Tampa Bay.
Oh my God!
Yes,
because there was talk about him going to KC, and I
hated that so much. Yeah, kick it with Baker Mayfield over there in Tampa. Excuse me.
That's what I was going to say. Probably another reason why Baker Mayfield stays in Tampa.
Yeah.
Oh, I think so. Absolutely.
I'm okay with that.
It's not sure, like for sure. If somebody offers him, a Colorado Rockies amount of money, he's gonna take it to go to some terrible team. If Atlanta decides they want to offer him a shit ton out of nowhere, like the Texans did for Brock Osweiler. I can see that totally happening.
Yeah.
See, a lot of the problems that a lot of us and other sports experts, because we're totally experts, make is they predict things that make sense and are smart. And sometimes we're just giving all 32 teams too much credit,
It's true.
Yeah.
To quote Metallica, sad but true.
I want to go back to Nick. The one thing that you started off with in your anger was George Payton. And that's where I want to bring this kind of full circle.
Okay.
George Payton. This is Russell Wilson was supposed to be his bright, shiny piece. Like that was his get. We talked about this last year also. George Payton in the draft. does he stay through the draft? We talked about it in the season. I had said if they don't fire George Payton right away, they need to keep him through the draft. Is this now a moment that you let George Payton go? Because that's it. I mean, he failed at his big swing and miss, and it failed miserably, and now it's costing the Broncos $90 million. Or is he still around for this year? Like, is this like one last redeeming opportunity? Because it really now it's Sean Payton's show.
I think this is his last swan song because you got to, now that you can basically let them fight it out to the death to see who's really going to run this team. We all know it's going to be Sean anyway. But, you look at his track record in Minnesota, and then you bring him to Denver and look at his track record in Denver. Sean Payton, sadly, already has the lead. And, we're just coming out of the tip-off. And so I think you let him prove that he is not as good as what they thought he was and let him kind of shoot himself in the foot and limp on out back to Minnesota.
I feel like it's got to be not necessarily got to be his last year, but you got to keep him around throughout this year. But you also kind of make the decision this year whether you're going to keep him or not too. Whatever his plan is for this draft is important. This draft kind of needs to be gotten right. So if he suggests something to you that you find stupid, you then start ignoring George Payton, and this is his last year for sure. But you still need his scouting expertise. You need his entire infrastructure to get all of the info that you need, and then you can make the right decisions yourself if you disagree with it. But so far, they've said that they're kind of working in concert, and they both kind of agree. But you can tell Sean Payton's taking the lead. George will follow the way that Sean Payton wants to go because he was always an assistant GM, and he kind of has been the GM for the Broncos with an assistant GM mentality. He loves scouting those late draft picks. He wants to take the guy that nobody expects, like Montreal Washington.
He got a Super Bowl ring.
The classic Broncos mistake of, well, this guy might not have been as good as we thought. Don't just let him go. Develop the guy. Let him get good. The kid has a Super Bowl ring this year because he went to the Chiefs. Do they have a great kick return game? Of course not. Mims is actually better. But the Isaiah McKenzie's and Khalif Raymond's and just so many, quality NFL players the Broncos just kind of let go. Dominic Hickson was originally a Bronco for a while, and he had a good career with the Giants. I see it constantly, especially for whatever reason, at wide receiver.
Okay, so I want to go. I'm sorry. There's so much that's been going through my mind with this Sean Payton or George.
There's
Payton
a lot.
stuff also. Next year's free agent wide receiver class is stacked. So, Joe, Nick had mentioned Marvin Harrison Jr.
I love
if
Marvin
the Broncos
Harrison.
got him in this draft. I know it's a pipe dream. Whatever. So, just to go the wide receiver route, though, just follow me.
Yep, I'm with you.
What if the Broncos are keeping George around because next year's free agent wide receiver group includes one Justin Jefferson?
There's no way we get Justin Jefferson. I would love that, but
next year,
I'm
not talking because you don't have Jerry Jeudy on the books. If you're going after him next year, you're not keeping Jerry Jeudy.
No, but you still have the Russell Wilson, and you have the higher amount of Russell Wilson on the books.
No, the Broncos are going to take the higher amount this year.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Because the salary cap went up by like $30 million this year. Thank you, Taylor Swift.
Hell yeah.
The lower number is next year, so there's a lot more money out there. And then you also got to assume Tim Patrick's number is off the books. Jerry Jeudy is off. Sutton probably, or he's on a different deal.
And maybe a slight increase in the salary cap again.
Yes, you have your other increase, and then you take that possibly a rookie quarterback next year to pair him with a star wide receiver. One thing that we talked about, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts, Tua, and Jalen Waddle, and then Tyreek. You have the opportunity next year to really swing at a free agent wide receiver for this offense. So you can pair a rookie quarterback and that wide receiver. I mean, I can go through the list. There's guys: Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Deontay Johnson.
Godwin.
I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is a wide receiver again. Michael Thomas. There's names that are not feasible. Jamar Chase will be one. Waddle will be one. There's a lot of really good names that can help a rookie. I don't know if there's many hairy. I mean, there's a Hunter Renfrow. He might be hairy. He looks like a hairy guy.
Baseball player?
But there might be wide receiver help for a rookie quarterback because that can make a rookie's mistakes a lot less pronounced.
Noticeable.
Yes. So, Joe, I mean, what do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, the Broncos go offensive line this year, then bam, go on the offensive side next year. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. That's kind of your two options. At this point, either you love one of those later quarterbacks and you feel like you have a gem, or you just try to get something good. You could theoretically take a quarterback and then trade him at the draft next year and try to get another first round pick to pair with whatever, if you can get something early on, like you could take Shador and Tyler Huntley. Not Tyler Huntley. Why can't I think it's Hunter? Is
Quinn
it Hunter?
Ewers? Quinn Ewers?
No, for CU, Hunter.
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Why can't I think of his name?
I see
trying to
what
say
you're
my
saying.
favorite Pro Bowl quarterback, Tyler Huntley. Take Shador and Travis Hunter. Something ridiculous like that. Try to get some quality players because you're not going to get Marvin Harrison. I don't think he's going to go top 5. Maybe like if there wasn't 3 quarterback needy teams in the top 3, he'd go top 3. But I feel like and maybe that someone decides, you know what, we want this guy more. But yeah, no, I don't see. It's going to be tough to see who's available. It'll be kind of fun to watch for sure. But yeah, I kind of like that idea of just get some quality guys, go into next year, not looking great, but, able to kind of be flexible because you're going to take such a big cap hit. I think that's kind of the way to go, even though it'd be nice to get someone this year for the long haul because that's what you can afford to do with a number 12 overall pick. But yeah, you'd have to love one of those guys. And I don't know if they're going to love Bo Nix or Michael Penix Jr. And then, like I said, maybe you take a rookie in the second round anyway and take, McCarthy or somebody else that you like later on and they blossom into something. But yeah, that might end up being the way to go.
Any thoughts on that, Nick?
I don't know. I mean, the obsession of Shador Sanders still kind of drives me a little bit bonkers, but
he's kind of a placeholder name, kind of how Caleb Williams was all year last year.
Yeah,
where it's like it's not necessarily the guy, it's the draft pick. You can take whoever you want.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I was just giving you a hard time.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Then
your go-to
here, I'm gonna really get Nick here. Broncos get Bo Nix this year, okay?
Okay.
Bo Nix fails miserably. You okay with just moving on and taking a quarterback again next year?
No, you can't. That's the other problem too, is the Broncos have been one and done on a lot of these guys, and you can't expect this kid to come to the NFL and right away click. I mean, there have been a number of failures. Look at again Peyton Manning, his rookie year.
I don't think anyone's confusing Bo Nix for Peyton Manning.
No, but Peyton Manning put up some terrible numbers his rookie year. John Elway lined up under the tackle.
It was the guard.
Sorry, the guard, whatever.
Okay, what if he's Josh Rosen bad? I'm giving you an example of the Arizona Cardinals who went back and drafted another quarterback the next year.
If you're able to get somebody is better quality, and you're going to do back to back, do back to back. Force Bo Nix to be better. So you go and just again because it's
force him to be better.
Force him to be better, or now you have Shador Sanders. Again, just dropping names just to fill the void.
That's all we're doing.
So
it's the royal Shador.
Let's say they do get Bo Nix and he just totally shits his pants. And so the Broncos end up at 1-48 and have the number 1 pick. There's Shedeur, everybody's golden boy that in Denver that they want. You know it. They're going to be clamoring up and down I-25 in front of Mile High with signs, draft Shedeur. You know, it's all going to come down Highway 36. And so you want to make a guy better? Force him to be better. Because guess what? Now we got 2 quarterbacks that are either pretty damn good or one of you is going to survive and the other is going to go away.
Are you sure you're not going to try and hang on to Bo Nix for 8 or 9 wins that are ugly?
I mean, but that's, you know what? That's okay,
improvement
because we've seen that work plenty of times, like the Cowboys in the 90s with Troy Aikman and whoever the other guy was that they took with the first pick when they still had Troy Aikman because they weren't totally sure and they wanted to make sure. And then they traded that guy for draft picks that was able to help build their dynasty. So we've seen that be able to work in the past. So the idea of just taking another quarterback is not the worst because then at least you have the option. Like you're breaking one of the cardinal rules of football, which is if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. But if you play it right, you might actually have 2 quarterbacks. Or you convince somebody else that you have 2 quarterbacks and you get draft picks for them. Because, you know, like I said, there's exceptions to that rule. There's Garoppolo with the Patriots. There was that year when the Vikings had 3 quarterbacks with Bridgewater, Case Keenum, and Sam Bradford, and all of them got contracts, and none of them ended up being very good.
And that's the other thing, too, is you have him under a rookie contract already, too. So you're not wasting a whole lot of money. I mean, you're still wasting a good amount of money because he's a first-round draft pick, but, you know, you're not under the cap $85 million over 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And again, competition is the best way to A, show who you are, and B, force something to develop.
The only foreseeable issue with that is they might be too scared to make a decision.
Sean Payton won't.
I don't know about that. Sean Payton might decide he really likes different things about both of these guys, and then you might end up wasting.
It sounded like it was going into a really good spot. And he is frozen. Oh, man. Oh, Joe, I don't know if you can hear us, but you are totally frozen out on us. Oh
man. He was on a roll.
Here we go. Are we back?
Are you back?
Are we back? Okay.
I don't know.
Where was I that you could hear?
I can't tell you exactly where because I just started to laugh, but you were on a roll.
Okay. So
it was Sean Payton making a decision.
Yeah.
Just go for
so
it.
He might just decide that he likes different things about each of these guys, and they're both, you know, potentially coachable. And then you end up wasting time trying to choose between the two. So when you go that route, you have to end up being more decisive within a year. Because once you get to that second year, you've got 2 rookie, like high draft pick salaries, which aren't the worst, but they're more than you want when you could be doing other stuff and you need to figure out who the starter is so he can start getting those reps. So that's the foreseeable problem that I don't necessarily think would happen because I think you're right. I think Sean Payton would figure it out one way or the other. But having kind of a paralysis of choices, you know, like too many options. All of a sudden now we're not totally sure what to do. We end up with these guys for too long, kind of like giving Paxton Lynch too long to develop and not taking Josh Allen.
That's twice already.
Oh, he's back. I was like, no, I'm just saying Josh Allen's back.
Josh Allen. Guess who's back?
Back again.
It's Josh Allen.
Tell a friend.
Tell Josh Allen.
I don't know. I think that the Broncos, like I said, they kick the can down the road one more year with being moderately successful this past season. And so I think that we're in a really difficult spot, and I hope Sean Payton gives us some sort of hints, you know, whatever hint he can at what he is looking at for the future. And for me, I want to get a quarterback that will be, that is a top quarterback that'll be here for 10 years. Yeah, you're right, Nick. You can't guarantee that this top pick is going to work out, but I would much rather have the top pick option than the pick at number, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Because
Again, not
16,
but ask the Browns how that's worked out for them.
That worked out great. They got Myles Garrett. They built a great team. They missed on a quarterback, and it didn't matter because they were able to then trade more picks and get it. Like, they're actually one of those teams that is a quarterback away.
Welcome.
Like, if they were able to figure some of that out, like, they'd be kind of set. Like, the Browns are the reason why that kind of works. You don't need to go that far with it and lose, win one game in like 3 years or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That was probably too much. Please don't hire Hugh Jackson, Denver Broncos.
No, no, God, please, no.
Oh God, please, no. But like that totally can work. That's how you get a generational pass rush player like Myles Garrett and then get the number 1 overall pick next year. Just pick the right guy, like Josh Allen.
Yeah, I
don't know. I still have I think part of my problem is just because I've seen the Cleveland Browns do this. I'm like, it took them 18 years to finally reach the playoffs again, and before that, it was another felt like eternity before that. I mean,
those years don't count because those years was an incompetent front office doing stupid, incompetent things. And they still almost lucked into a playoff spot with like young Braylon Edwards and Brandon Weeden and shit. Remember that one season? That was
so you're talking before the move.
Oh, no, before the move, they were one of the best teams in the AFC.
Yeah, they were one of the best until the Broncos broke their hearts and
repeatedly.
Marty Schottenheimer and Bill Belichick couldn't really do a whole lot there.
Yeah.
All right. I just want to say, as much as I bash on Russell Wilson, I am sad. I am sad that it didn't work because I much would have preferred that it worked. But I am glad that it is over. At the end of the day, right here, right now, I'm glad that Russell Wilson's reign time in Denver is over because it was a bad experiment. So all I can say is that I hope that for the Broncos, for us, that things get a whole hell of a lot better. And
there's my guy, Clayton.
The future looks bright after a draft. But right now, like I said, it is kind of sad because it just didn't work. Even though I didn't think it was going to, it still sucks. So it's still.
I think rough. What makes it suck more is after the first year, there were glimpses of what could potentially be there, and I think part of the problem is there's some stubbornness, all over in that locker room. I mean, no.
What?
I know, shocking. And so I think, obviously personalities played into it a little bit too. And, it is what it is. I agree. I wish it would have worked out. It would have been, it would have been quite the cool story, but I mean, it would have been a typical Denver Broncos story too, where they can't draft a quarterback, but goddamn, we can bring another guy in and here we go. We're going to win again. But, so maybe this is the change in history that the Broncos needed, where they can no longer pick free agent quarterbacks, but maybe they'll be able to draft them now.
You can't win if you don't play. So you got to try to do something. You have to have a plan. I wouldn't be mad if you're going to go draft a guy this year and still potentially draft a guy next year. I'm taking Michael Penix Jr. and I'm not playing him a single fucking down this year. I am sitting him the whole year. We're sitting and we're Stidham. The whole year. And you tank and you get, maybe you just bring in Travis Hunter because you love Michael Penix and what he's looked like. He looks like Patrick Mahomes when you sat him for a year in Kansas City. Do something like that. But because a guy like Bo Nix is going to want to get is going to need.
I'm good. We're good. I fixed it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to stop you, Joe.
Oh, you're good. If I was going to freeze again.
Have to go.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. I guess I need to do more research into some of these guys because I didn't know Penix was 6'3". He's a bigger kid than I thought he was. So he might just need a year to kind of take some time off. I said this on the Dan Jacobs show yesterday. He kind of reminds me of a guy with the exact same initials in Michael Porter Jr. that he might fall to you in the draft and you sit him for a little bit, make sure he's right, healthy, and then he could end up being a quality contributor for your team. Obviously you kind of need more than that for your quarterback. You need him to be Jokic. But you have to love that guy, or you have to be willing to get rid of him, like I said. So you cannot be paralyzed by decisions. You have to be able to do something. But there's hope now. We finally at least started doing something. Russell Wilson's out. We have a draft pick. We'll see what the fuck they do with it.
Yeah, I mean, I like Penix too, but Hendon Hooker, just to bring up that red shirt first year season guy that I mentioned last year. Yeah. But no, I just think if you draft Penix, you're probably going to have to play him right away. It's where the Broncos are at now. I love your idea, Joe. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I wish you could, but I think if they take Penix, they have to start him.
He's old.
No, he's hurt. He's fragile.
He's also older.
So
you can't. You're at the point now where you can't waste a whole lot of his years.
No, it's quarterback.
I'm saying where the Broncos are at right now, though. You can't take Penix and not play him. That's what I'm saying. I wish the Broncos could. I wish they could Hendon Hooker him and give him a red shirt year, but I don't think the Broncos can afford that. I wish they could. Trust me, Joe. I wish they could. That would be. You're right. That would be a great situation if the Broncos.
This is the year to do that, though. This is the year that you've taken the biggest salary cap hit. This is the year to start the rebuild, to really just kind of not worry about it. And if you can get your quarterback in year one of the rebuild, holy shit, you just hit the lottery and you managed to get one of the few quarterbacks drafted outside of the top 5, top 10, whatever the stat is, that actually turns out to be good. Or you are in line, just like the Bears, to take another one right afterwards, really high in the draft. And then you can decide who your guy is. Yeah, so I feel like where they're at right now, this is their last chance to do that for a while. They're going to have to try to do something to really start winning if they don't do something like that. Like, if they manage to get a guy and they win a bunch of games, go to the playoffs and end up getting, the CJ Stroud of this year, then hell yeah, that sounds great. But I feel like tanking is almost more likely than not, and it might even end up being unintentional tanking.
But that's what I'm saying, Joe. We'll have to continue this Saturday. But if the Broncos draft him there and have a bad season and are in line to get another quarterback, it's kind of hard to take another quarterback when you haven't seen any of that quarterback you just drafted. That's just kind of where I sit with that, with him not playing. So.
Well, they'll probably play him a game or two and be the end of the season type deal. Mahomes played one game his rookie year. You don't have to. I guess I did say it in a single down, but that's I was being hyperbolic, guys. This is a podcast. This is sports talk, but you'd want to see a little bit, obviously, and they'd see him in practice every day because he wouldn't be injured. He would just be a backup. So they would still see a lot from him. But like I said, you got to be able to make that decision, and. I don't know. You could make the same argument for one of those later round draft pick guys too. You just take somebody later and let them sit because they're a late round pick, and then turns out maybe they figure some stuff out.
How long is this song?
Keeps going. Clayton, shoot me a message. Okay, shoot me a message, Clayton. Nick,
are you happy now? We're done. Yeah. I can end it. Okay, go. Clayton, make sure you message Colin. Colin. Say hi.
Hi, Clayton.
Joe, say hi.
What? Why would I do that?
Hi, Clayton.
I already said hi to Clayton. No, Clayton.
Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you all joining us tonight for our little drop-in segment. Colin Zankard, it was your idea, so good on you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Obviously, Saturday we'll be back. Keep on to the socials of 5280sports.com. And don't forget to watch all the other podcasts as well. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We love you. See you Saturday.
Bye.